Hello there folks, my name is Spoonks and welcome back to another episode of Box Office Chat. This is the show where I break down the top 5 domestic box office results, see where each movie landed, and see how well each movie did, so let's get started. Number 5 was Speak No Evil, making $2.7 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $32 million and a worldwide total of $67 million. Speak No Evil has honestly become the sleeper hit of the month pretty much. I did not expect it to last very long in the top 5 given its opening and the bad reception towards the trailer being in front of every single movie ever. But yeah, the film has really taken off for itself. It has some really strong legs for itself, The word of mouth has been very strong, and being one of the only horror movies, real horror movies out right now, has definitely benefited it a lot recently, as it's shown with how strong its legs have been thus far. I did not expect this movie, once again, to be in the top 5 for this long, but yet, here we are, and now it's Blumhouse's biggest movie of the year domestically and worldwide. It's honestly gonna crack 70 million worldwide, which again, I was not expecting this movie to do. It's had some even really strong international appeal. This movie has done a lot better than I thought it was going to do. Yeah, just overall a really solid run for Speak No Evil. Not the greatest thing in the world, but definitely a lot better than I was expecting it to have, so good on you, Speak No Evil. Number 4 was Transformers 1, making $5.3 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $47 million and a worldwide total of $97 million. So it did seem to bounce back. Hopefully this is a sign of better things to come for this movie in terms of legs. It only dropped 41%, which, is, I think they'll take whatever they can get. And now it's just 3 million away worldwide from surpassing 100 million. That's also really good. It was also able to surpass its initial $70 million budget worldwide. Again, very promising to see, but, that big bump in the road last week, I think, hurt it a lot, going up against the competition. Yes, the word of mouth might help it out a little bit, maybe bounce back and make it a sleeper hit, maybe in the same sense that Speak No Evil is right now, but the damage was done last weekend. That was just such a big loss for this movie to have in its second weekend, and I think that just really hurt it in the long run, and I think it's just going to keep hurting it and preventing it from reaching the heights I think it would have had it gotten a better date or was at least advertised a lot better. Yeah, just overall, still, even with this, glimmer of hope for the film, it's still in rough waters. It still needs to double that $70 million budget. I think it's probably just going to barely get over that milestone, given the word of mouth on it. Maybe, again, it'll be able to bounce back from this, and maybe a couple weeks from now, I'll be like, oh, Transformers 1's actually doing better than I thought. But as of right now, things are still not looking too great for Transformers 1. Number 3 was Beetlejuice, making $10 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $265 million and a worldwide total of $402 million. Despite another creepy fella in theaters right now, Beetlejuice is still doing very well for itself, and it's looking like it's going to crack $300 million, hopefully just in time before Halloween. I think that would just be perfect, 300 and Beatles, you get the joke, but yeah, still, the legs on this are still going strong. We are right in spooky month. This is like the only real major Halloween movie right now that I think everyone can go and see, so I think that is greatly benefiting this movie, so we will definitely see this movie legging out much better than I think even the people with the highest of expectations were expecting this movie to have. So yeah, expect this movie to have strong legs throughout the rest of October for that reason alone. Worldwide, it has surpassed the $400 million milestone, which again is really impressive to see. We'll see if it can get to 500 million. I think that's going to be a bit of a reach. It doesn't have as much of an international appeal as it does domestic. Not like it's Twisters or anything, but there's a bit of a divide between domestic and international. But still, this movie is still doing really impressive. It's the biggest movie out right now, and in Warner Brothers cases, I think they are very happy with how this movie is doing compared to a certain other movie out right now. We'll get to that in a few, but yeah, another solid solid weekend for Beetlejuice. Number 2 was The Wild Robot, making $18 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $64 million and a worldwide total of $100 million. So The Wild Robot actually held very well. It only dropped 48% in its second weekend, which is really solid to see. The word of mouth on this has been electric thus far. It has actually been pacing behind some really strong performers in September, the Hotel Transylvania movies, and even outperforming some other ones, like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. This movie has just tapped into an audience that I don't think a lot of people were expecting it to, and it's definitely going to crack the $100 million milestone domestically, and it's already done so worldwide, given how strong and beloved this film it has been for so many people. DreamWorks really hit a home run with this one, and once again, given that there's a lack of competition for this movie to face off against until Thanksgiving weekend with Wicked and Moana 2, this movie's going to have some really strong legs. I think it's going to really benefit, from the lack of competition it has to face off against. And just the excellent word of mouth. Again, people are just loving this movie so much. People have been adoring it thus far. It may have lost a lot of its premium large format screens, but it's still capturing an audience. It's still getting people to go and check it out at the theater. This is definitely going to be a big surprise for the fall, I bet. So yeah, another solid weekend for The Wild Robot. I look forward to seeing how higher this movie can go. And finally, let's end the video off with the number 1 movie of the weekend, which was Joker: Folie à Deux, opening with $37 million this weekend domestically and $113 million worldwide. Folks, on this show, we have talked a lot about box office disasters. We've had our Flashes, our Indiana Joneses, our Fast X's, the Marvels, even this year, we had Argyles, Madam Webs, Borderlandses, and so on and so forth. A lot of disasters, a lot of flops. I don't think I have ever seen a box office performance this bad, where the hype just got worse and worse as we got closer and closer to the weekend. It was something that I have never seen before. This is going to be taught in the history books, in film classes, box office classes, if they even have those. But yeah, this is a disaster. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about this. This opened lower than Morbius. There was just so little interest with this movie. Nobody wanted to see another Joker movie, which was surprising given that the first one made $1 billion. And with the trailer, I thought, that that first trailer was a pretty solid trailer, and I thought that there was going to be at least a little bit more interest with this movie, but no. And the ones to our blame? Warner Brothers. They are the ones to blame because they got cocky. They thought they had such a massive hit on their hands. The first one made $1 billion. How could this not repeat that? We got the same director, we got the same star, we got Lady Gaga. We're putting it out in the same weekend, early October. This is just smash hit. We're not going to do any test screenings. Why do we need to do test screenings? The first one cost $60 million. No, we're going to give you $200 million to make this movie. Why do we care? This movie's going to be another $1 billion, but it completely backfired on their face. They even went as far as premiering it at Venice, which did no help. It actually made things probably even worse, in my opinion. This was just a horrible disaster. A $37 million opening for a $200 million movie. Just absolutely horrendous opening. There is no sugarcoating this. There's no beating around the bush about this. This was horrible. But the word of mouth could definitely help it out. Maybe this is something like Transformers 1. The word of mouth, it has a bad opening, but the word of mouth is strong. People like it. No, not even that is going to help it out, because people hate this movie. And when I say hate this movie, I mean hate this movie. Folks, this got a D cinema score, not a D plus like Borderlands, a D, the lowest cinema score grade for any superhero movie. Yes, lower than Fant4stick. Yes, People hate this movie. This is going to be probably the biggest flop of the year. I know it's the biggest embarrassment of the year right now. This is, oh my God, this was just unexpected. I think that's the best way to put it. There is just no other way around it. This was a huge disaster, a huge embarrassment. I don't know how they managed to make this happen to a movie, to a sequel to a movie that made $1 billion and was this big cultural phenomenon in 2019, but they did it. They managed to do it, and that's what they deserve for being so cocky. Oh my God, we are going to see something. This is going to be in the history books once again. There's nothing. We are witnessing history in the making right now. You are not going to see another box office story like this for another couple years. Oh my God, this is an absolute disaster. I don't know how this movie picks itself back up, but it's going to need a lot of the help it can get. Just an absolutely horrible opening for Joker 2. And those were your top 5 domestic box office results for this weekend, and normally this would be the part of the video where I discuss the upcoming new wide releases and where I think they would land in the top 5, but not only do I not have a lot to say about these movies, but this weekend's lineup is such a wild card. I could see any of them, well, maybe not any of them, I think Joker's gonna plummet, but I can see any of them taking the #1 spot. I can see Terrifier 3 taking it. I can see Saturday Night taking it. I can even see The Wild Robot reclaiming the #1 spot. I can see any of these possibilities happening because it's such a wild and interesting weekend, an interesting group of movies that are coming out, even piece by piece. You know, who knows, maybe the Pharrell stands could come check it out and in droves. So I don't know, this is going to be an interesting weekend to check out. I'm very curious to see which one will actually take the #1 spot, but we'll see which one does take the #1 spot and how well these movies truly do, as well as the rest of the movies that land in the top 5 on the next Box Office Chat. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Box Office Chat. What did you all think of the results? Were you satisfied, unsatisfied? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all those social media links right there. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.